Welcome to the Financial Power Play, the podcast where hockey meets real-life money talk. I'm Brett from Uptown Wealth Management, here to help hockey families and professionals create a financial game plan that works on and off the ice. From the rink to retirement, this is your go-to for real stories, smart strategies, and trusted advice. Let's drop the puck and dive in. Hi, welcome to the Financial Power Play. I'm Brett Cranson, and here with me today I have a great guest, Sean Hogan from College Hockey Inc. He's the executive director there, and we're going to talk about NCAA recruitment today and what College Hockey Inc. actually does. So welcome to the podcast, Sean.
Yeah, excited to be here. Always excited to talk about college hockey and hockey in general and just the recruiting landscape. Everything's changed in the last year for sure. So exciting time to be involved in college athletics.
That's awesome. Okay, so I wanted to kind of start off with your own story and tell me like how you started off in getting involved in hockey and then how you got to the College Hockey Inc.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a long-winded story. So my dad was on the first ever high school hockey team in Ann Arbor, Michigan. There's still a plaque in the rink there in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So hockey was in our family's blood for sure. And my dad got me involved at a pretty young age, 4 or 5 years old. Kind of the traditional story, community hockey in Redford, Michigan, and fell in love with the game early. My brother was a goalie. I was a forward, and just continued to play all the way up. Started, like I said, in community hockey, and then matriculated to AAA hockey and high school hockey and junior hockey, and was lucky enough to play college hockey at a school called Iona. It's in New York, and we were so good they no longer have a hockey team. We weren't that good. That's probably why I was able to be on the team. But I was lucky enough from there. Like, I loved the game. Right? I was a person that was very passionate about hockey. I still am, and I loved playing. So really, I played for as long as I could, right? As long as my ability would take me, which I didn't have a ton of ability. So one of the things I did when I graduated college was I started reaching out to minor professional hockey teams, and this is back in the early 2000s, so a little different. Not many players had agents or advisors or anything like that back when I was coming up. So I did a lot of my own legwork. I was calling coaches, emailing coaches, and I was fortunate enough to earn an opportunity to try out for the Macon Whoopee in the old they were in the ECHL at the time. So I went to camp with the Macon Whoopee, played one exhibition game. Big claim to fame was I did score a goal in my one exhibition game, but didn't make the team. Then was sent to tried to play in the old UHL, 2 teams there, Knoxville and Kalamazoo. But I was on those 3 teams over the course of maybe 6 weeks. Didn't play any games outside of the one exhibition game, and came to the realization that, well, maybe the common denominator here is me. So was cut. So really what happened with my playing career is I played until they told me I couldn't play anymore. So then I tried to get involved in coaching, and I did. I actually ended up having a regular job out of college there. I worked at a Medicaid HMO, but on the side I was always doing some sort of coaching and volunteering and just being involved in the game, and it eventually led to full-time opportunities. I became our local rink at the Onyx Ice Arena in Rochester. I became the hockey director there, and I was coaching Oakland University as an assistant, kind of a volunteer role there, until I landed a full-time coaching job. My first one was junior coaching in Wyoming, of all places. Moved from Michigan, went out to Wyoming to coach a team there. And then I caught a big break coaching-wise. I was able to get on staff at Western Michigan University. And at the time, the head coach was Jeff Blashill, and Blashill's now the head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, was the head coach of the Red Wings. But that staff, Jeff Blashill was the head coach. One of the assistant coaches was Pat Ferschweiler, who's now the head coach of Western. They just won the national championship. So I spent a year with 2 of what I would consider some of the great hockey minds. And to be able to learn from those guys. Another guy on that staff was Rob Facca. He works for the Chicago Blackhawks as well. So I was able to learn a ton about the game and kind of a different perspective about coaching and leading an organization and just about leadership in general. That team at Western Michigan, for just some background information, the year before Blash got there, he was only there 1 year. He went from there to the Red Wings. The team was pretty much routinely in last place in the old CCHA. We went from last place to the CCHA championship game and the NCAA tournament in 1 year, essentially with the same players. So I learned a ton about leadership and just an outstanding opportunity there. And then I spent some time head coaching in the ACHA, which I really have a passion for. It's a level down from NCAA Division I for sure. But I was able to coach at the University of Arizona, coached at Ohio University, and then I had some stints with USA Hockey with the national university team. Was able to take trips to Italy, Kazakhstan, Spain. Hockey's been incredibly good to me for a player that wasn't very good. I was not an outstanding player by any means. I met my wife because of hockey. I have a master's degree because of hockey. I got to travel the world because of this game. And then I'm able to lead an organization like College Hockey Inc. now, all because of I was just passionate about the game as a youth, right? I loved playing. And it's the return the game has given to me is way more than my ability dictated for sure. So real lucky. And I got involved with College Hockey Inc. because my wife and I was coaching at Ohio University. My son was born down there. My wife was working in the athletic department, and she got an opportunity at Michigan State University. So I said, we should explore that. That's a big opportunity for you. She landed that opportunity. And at the same time, moving back to Michigan, and the opportunity with College Hockey Inc. opened up. It was I was a director of athlete relations, got that job, and then grew in 5 years later. Here we are. I'm the executive director of the organization. And like I said, extremely lucky to be involved in hockey for over 20 years full time, and definitely didn't deserve it, and just lucky to have it. So.
Yeah, that's a great hockey journey. It's good to hear that from you, because there's a lot of players I think don't realize how much hockey can give them if they even don't go the pro route.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't go to college to play, even after playing hockey, they still learn a lot of stuff playing minor hockey, and even if they get to the junior level, it's still a good experience, and it always opens up doors for later. So that's a good story here.
Yeah, it's all been. It's just I just stuck with it, right? I just stayed around the game. Like I wasn't, I volunteered because I liked doing it. I never foresaw myself having like a full-time hockey job. I thought if I coached, it would be like my kids, but just kept staying with it. And I think people sometimes want to skip steps, right? They go from playing, they want to go right to like a head coaching role, and that happens sometimes for high-end players. But most people just be around it. Just be at the rink, right? And things will happen. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then now you started at College Hockey Inc. and you kind of moved your way up over the last 5 years, like you said, and now you're the executive director. So what is College Hockey Inc.? Like, what do you guys actually do there? Like, what's your objectives with the company?
Good question. So we do a variety of things at College Hockey Inc. And I think sometimes there is a misperception out there to what we do. So one of the things that we do, I think it's important to understand just quickly, College Hockey Inc. is a 100% free organization. There's never a fee for what we do. We're a grant-based organization, nonprofit, funded by the NHL. So we're not out there trying to be anybody's agents. We're not trying to be advisors. We're not trying to charge you money to get you recruited or anything. But we do a variety of things. One of the things that we do through our partnership with the NHL is we are tasked with trying to grow college hockey, all levels, Division I, Division III, men's and women's. And we do that by partnering with NCAA Division I athletic departments or Division III athletic departments and try to create more teams. And we do that because we have a feasibility study agreement with the NHL. If a school is interested in adding NCAA hockey, the NHL will pay for that feasibility study. And it outlines everything from the cost of a program, coaching salaries, arena on campus, what just essentially what that would look like to add hockey, and then we help navigate them through that process. So we've had some success stories. Augustana, the most recent, women's hockey at Delaware, and we're currently working with 3 other schools that want to be confidential, and that's an important piece now, especially because of the pool of players that are available to play. Right, it used to be CHL players couldn't play, and increasingly more now we're seeing that even minor professional players may be eligible for college hockey. So the pool of players has expanded 5-fold. So there needs to be places for these players to play. So the growth piece is become increasingly important going forward. We do a lot of research at College Hockey Inc. Chris Marini does a lot of research on our men's side, Sadie Lundquist on our women's side, that really outlines what it looks like for a player to play NCAA hockey. So what I mean by that is we have an event upcoming in Calgary. We'll invite players in and families to learn about the NCAA process, but we'll be able to show them, for a player from Calgary, for example, where do players play at 15, 16, 17, 18 years old? What's the average commitment age? What's the age at which things happen? So we are the number one resource for families, free resource for families to get information about NCAA. But really at our core, we're an education organization. We're here to educate families, players, coaches, agents and advisors use our services every day. To just educate them about the benefits of playing college hockey. We're obviously pro college hockey, so we want to show them that college hockey is the top of the development pyramid. Play your minor hockey, play your junior hockey. But if a coach calls you from the NCAA and you're 18 or you're 20 years old, your next step on your road to professional hockey involves NCAA hockey. So college hockey promotion, college hockey growth, and we provide a ton of valuable research-based information to families.
That's awesome. So yeah, it's a good resource for parents to come to. And so kind of want to dig in a little bit in some of maybe some questions that hockey parents have about the NCAA and kind of stuff. So maybe we could start off with the new rules that the CHL players can play. You also said that some minor pros might be able to play too. And I heard like some AHL guys might be signing NCAA D1, commitments. So how that kind of changed the landscape and how that changed the landscape, and then how are pro guys, like, because that's AHL is kind of pro still, are able to go to D1, because
great question.
It's always been minor, right?
Yeah, let's start with the CHL. So we'll start with the CHL, and then we talk a little bit what's the pro part's called pre-enrollment professionalism, but let's separate the CHL from that. So the CHL is obviously under 20 junior hockey, and for the longest time, it started in the 80s. CHL players used to be eligible for NCAA hockey back in the 70s and early 80s. There was a change back in 82 or 83, somewhere in there.
Keep going. I'm just gonna. You can keep going.
No worries.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah, so there's a change in 82, 83. Somewhere around there, that CHL players no longer became eligible for college hockey. And then what that did back in the early 80s, when you said CHL players weren't eligible, it created a two-pronged development path, right? It wasn't intentional. But so the provincial junior leagues for Canadians, became a path to NCAA hockey. The CHL was kind of a separate path. And that started in the early 80s. For the longest time, people weren't really quite sure why they were ineligible. People said, well, it's because CHL players are paid, but that really wasn't the reason. It was just something that they did back in the early 80s. So now players in Canada or the U.S. can really play junior hockey wherever they want. They can play in the CHL, they can play in the USHL, they can play in the BCHL. They can do really any route they want and still be eligible for NCAA hockey. So what that creates is great for the players. You no longer have to make a choice at 15 years old or 16 years old about which development path you want to take. You can really just put on your blinders and play, kind of similar to what I did, just play as long as you can. And if you're good enough to play NCAA Division I hockey, an opportunity could arise for you. So it certainly expands the playing pool, is beneficial to the players. Our role will need to be create more NCAA Division I teams to house those players. And hopefully what we'll see in the NHL is right now the NHL is about a third of NCAA is a third made up of former college players. I think what you'll see now is that number will be well over 50% here in the future, because players will play in the CHL and the NCAA. The CHL is an under 20 junior league. For the most part, college hockey is past the age of 20. The average commitment age for a player, and this would probably be interesting to families, is almost 19 years old. And I expect that to tick up a little bit now with CHL player eligibility. I mean, you're eligible to receive a commitment as early as 16, but it's just unlikely that that'll happen. And it's more likely to happen closer to 19 or 20 years old while you're playing junior hockey on your road to the NCAA. So that's the CHL piece. Now, what we've learned in this last 3 months is there is just constant litigation at the NCAA right now. And a lot of these changes are based on litigation against the NCAA. I wish I could tell you that it was a strategic approach by NCAA hockey and the CHL to come together and say, we're going to make these players eligible. That's not what happened. Essentially, what happened was there was litigation against the NCAA, and the NCAA thought they couldn't win this case. So they just said CHL players will be eligible. So what that has done because of this litigation is it seems increasingly likely that players who have played minor professional hockey before they've enrolled in school may be eligible for NCAA sports going forward. And that's as big or not bigger a landscape change as the CHL. We don't have a ton of information on that yet, but it certainly looks to be, because there's 4 or 5 players right now in NCAA rosters that played the ECHL or the AHL last year that are playing. And then in other sports, again, hockey doesn't operate in a vacuum. The NCAA governs all sports. We're seeing it in NCAA basketball as well. There's a player that played in the NBA G League that had a substantial professional contract that's going to be playing at Louisville. Where that leads, hard to say. But if you're a player, the route has never been more simple for a family. Literally play wherever you want. And if you're a high-end player, you will be found and you'll have an opportunity to play NCAA hockey. So that's a lot of information in about a minute and a half span, and we can elaborate where you see fit, but that's where the landscape stands right now.
Yeah, that's good that like kids can just not worry about make commitments somewhere where they might be ineligible to play for NCAA. Now they could play anywhere they want, which is great. And it's great advice that just go play wherever you can find a place to play, and that NCAA, that those scouts will find you. So what's kind of changed, or maybe you've seen change in terms of the recruiting now? Because like we talked about before we got on this, is that I was saying to my son asked me about, I know that the scouts are eligible to start talking to you in January of your grade 10 year. And so I know that in the past they've always come around January, February to talk to players that may be high draft picks to the OHL or CHL because they wanted to let them know they have this opportunity to go to NCAA before they make that commitment to the CHL. Now they don't need to make that commitment anymore. So how's that changed the recruiting process now? Are they starting to look maybe at players later in their careers?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. So our data, we'll start tracking that this year because this is the first year, right? So one of the things that we do, like I said, we do a lot of research at College Hockey Inc. So when we go to Ontario to speak to different groups, we'll take a look at all the commitments from Ontario and see the age at which things happen. So in Ontario specifically, the commitment age was almost 19 years old. It was like 18.7. That was taking place when they were playing college eligible junior hockey. And like you said, some young players make commitments at 16, and it was important then because kids had to make a decision: am I going to the OHL? Am I going to NCAA hockey? So, but now they don't have to make that decision. So I think when we look at this 1 year from now, we look back at the commitments from this year. I think you'll see them as a little bit older because a player, high-end 16-year-old player, he can be drafted in the OHL, go play in the OHL. And then when he's ready, he can make a decision to play NCAA hockey or stay in the OHL. But so I think what you're going to see is closer to 18, 19, 20-year-old commitments than 16-year-old commitments here in the future.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good to know that players don't need to worry about if they're not getting calls from NCAA schools at 16 or 17 years old, that there's still lots of time for them to keep playing. And even at 2021, they can still find commitments if they're playing junior hockey somewhere. So that's good. I know a lot of emphasis is on playing D1 because that's probably where most of the scholarships, you get full scholarships or partial scholarships from. But then there's also D3, which a lot of people don't look at too closely. But I think D3, in my opinion, with all the new rules, is probably the hockey's going to get a lot better there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you see like D3 kind of like, are they going to start offering some scholarships? I know that they do some financial aid maybe, but is there going to be how's that landscape going to change? And what's the benefit? Like, should players, if they don't go D1, is it really the end of the world, like to go to a D3 school?
No, so and I'll combine this NCAA Division III and the ACHA because I think both are outstanding opportunities to continue to play, and both if keep playing as long as you can because a good example, Alex Hicks, he's the assistant coach at Arizona State, played Division III hockey and made it to the NHL. Just kept playing, right? So, but let's go back to what I think is going to happen. Yes, NCAA Division III hockey is about to get a lot better because there's way more players available that'll be playing Division One, and that just pushes everything down, right? So NCAA Division III hockey is going to get really good. ACHA hockey, Division One ACHA hockey, and the ACHA is going to get really good. Division III hockey will never be able to offer athletic scholarships. It's just the mission of NCAA Division III athletics. So once you start adding scholarships, you're no longer Division III. That's just the mission of Division III. They can offer you merit-based aid, financial aid based on family income. They can offer you academic scholarships. It just cannot be tied to your ability as an athlete. So they will not offer scholarships outside of traditional financial aid. But yes, like you said, that hockey will continue to improve, and I think you'll start to see, more not a ton of players, but more opportunities for Division III players at the pro level because there's going to be good players playing there that were just pushed out at 18 or 19 years old. But it's our goal too. We need to create more Division III teams then, right? There needs to be more college hockey opportunities across the board to house these players.
Right. And sorry, just trying to think. So on the D3 route, do D3 schools come and try to scout and look at players as well? Because that's something that maybe like people are thinking like only D1 players look at me. D3, I have to go and try to call the school, send video or whatever. Or do the D3 coaches and scouts come and watch?
Yes, they do, but I encourage players absolutely to reach out to Division III coaches. If you're playing junior hockey somewhere and you want to play Division III or ACHA, absolutely take the initiative to email those coaches. Say, hey, I'm playing here. Here's my elite prospects page. Keep it short, right? Don't need to write a big long email and attach a bunch of videos. Honestly, if you say, hey, this is my name, this was my academics, here's where I'm playing. There's a good chance that some of those coaches will reach back out to you. So yes, absolutely reach out to Division III coaches. Division III coaches do recruit. They are on the road, but you can make they don't have nearly the same budget as an NCAA Division I team. So you make their job a lot easier if you reach out to them directly. I would highly encourage that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and is that I saw you have all the D1 coaches and contacts on your website. Is the D3 also on your website?
The D3 is not, and we might start looking to do that here with this new landscape change. So for the longest time, College Hockey Inc., our board of directors is made up of the NCAA Division I men's and women's commissioners. So we've been pretty focused on NCAA Division I, but I think going forward here, just with all the changes, we'll have more of a focus on all of college hockey than we have in the past. So I can see that being a change at College Hockey Inc. here in the future.
So let's just change a little bit. What are the long-term goals of College Hockey Inc.? Like, where do you guys see? I know you guys are going to keep supporting D1, that kind of stuff. You talked a little bit about getting more schools involved, but what's the long-term goals of?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big things is one, we want the growth piece, right? We want to continue to be in the process of creating more NCAA Division I teams or Division III teams, because it's not only more opportunities for players, it's more opportunities for coaching, more opportunities for fan bases, and that's one of the reasons why the NHL likes the growth piece is you create a college hockey team in a community, you have more hockey fans now, you have more people involved. Those people in that community who get connected to the university, maybe their kids get involved in hockey. It's just a really long-term vision and a grassroots kind of operation to grow the game. So the growth piece for me is extremely important. But we want to be able to continue to lead in this new landscape, continue to be the go-to source of understanding what is happening in college athletics, but more specifically in college hockey. to make sure that families know that they don't need to be listening to rumors around the rink. They have a direct line to college hockey and to give them the correct information for free. And then there's just looking at the future of what college hockey looks like as a whole. And we're involved in that process as well.
Awesome. So let's just go back a little bit, since I'm a financial guy, talk about a little bit about like the way scholarships work.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked before about how like now schools can offer more full scholarships to players, but you mentioned something that they have to be signed up for a certain thing, and then there's all the nil stuff involved too. So can you touch a little bit based on like maybe what families should be thinking about in terms of like financial wise, like how they should be
Yeah.
saving or how the scholarships work?
Yeah, great question. So this has probably never been more complicated. It used to be fairly simple. But the first thing I would say is, and this is especially true when I speak with Canadian families, and it's true for American families as well, but just our culture is a little different, and we know just a little bit more about how NCAA athletics works. What happens oftentimes with a family is that a school recruits them, and they go and they look at the website and they see tuition is $65,000 a year US, and you're like, oh my God, that's insane! Like, who's paying that? The first answer to that is nobody is paying that amount of money. After you see what the sticker price is, take a look at the percentage of students receiving financial aid on campus, and that number is almost like 90% everywhere. So almost nobody is writing a check for $250,000 for 4 years of education. There's a variety of ways to pay for college. A lot of it is financial aid based on family income. So there's that piece for sure. So just be aware of that. But the way athletic scholarships work at the Division I level now, there's two boxes of schools. There was the house settlement. There's schools that opted into the house settlement and schools that did not. So let's start with the schools that opted in. It's getting complicated, I know. But the schools that opted in are the schools that you would think of, right? Like maybe Michigan and Michigan State and some of the ones with major college football. Those schools now have the ability in hockey to offer up to 26 full scholarships for athletics. Now, most of those schools are not going to offer 26. They're going to come up from 20 to 22 or 23 or 24 athletic scholarships. So you have the athletic-based aid portion of it. You have, at those schools, what's called revenue sharing. There was a court case that said these colleges and athletic departments that make all this money basically off of football need to revenue share some of that money with their athletes. And the hockey teams will have a portion of that. Most of that money is going to college football and basketball players. Some of it will go to college hockey players. So you have your athletic scholarship, a piece of revenue sharing, which is basically essentially receiving money. And the third piece is the name, image, and likeness for a student athlete to have the ability to go outside of the school and make money on their name, image, and likeness. So some companies will pay student athletes to sign autographs and do a variety of things. And that's what the NIL piece is. So you have your athletic scholarship, revenue sharing, and your NIL piece for the opt-in schools. Schools that did not opt into that process still have athletic scholarships, capped at 18. They have 18 full scholarships they can give. They do not have revenue sharing, but they do have name, image, and likeness that students at all schools can make money based on their name, image, and likeness. So when you're, as a family, when you're thinking about college hockey opportunities and scholarships, there's pools of money everywhere to help pay for college. The Division I level, you'll probably make some money going to school. Division III level, you may pay for a little bit of school, but they have the ability to merit-based aid, financial aid based on family income, academic aid, as well as some name, image, and likeness opportunities. That's way more complicated than it ever used to be.
So there is. So that's something I just heard you say, is that you said that there's name, image, and likeness opportunities at the D3 level as well as the D1 level?
Correct. All college sports, you have the ability to. So it used to be, the rules were so harsh at one time that if you're a Division III athlete, you couldn't even have your own hockey camp in the summer. Like, you couldn't go home and have, my name is Sean Hogan, like the Sean Hogan hockey camp. You couldn't do that. But now which is ridiculous, right? You should be able to do that. So at the Division III level, you have the ability to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good to know because a lot of people don't realize that even though you're playing D3, you could still make some money. Everyone thinks D1. I think everyone's looking at D1 right now too because they're seeing like, the McKenna who just signed a huge deal to go NCAA before his NHL, before he gets drafted to the NHL, which he's making a lot more money there than he would have playing in the AHL anyways.
Yeah.
A lot of people see that, right? Like, so a lot of parents see that money and they're like, they just think, oh, maybe my kid can get that kind of money too, right? So, and then they don't want to play, they don't even want to look at D3 because they don't have that opportunity. But
Yeah.
if in D3 you
I mean,
get
McKenna is such a special example, right? Like he's a generational player, but most players, it's the numbers aren't going to be the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of course. All right, so let's this was a great information. Let's just end with a few like kind of rapid questions I have here. So, what's the best piece of advice you ever received about like
So this is in my hockey life and my professional life. So I guess it would two things. One, when I worked for Jeff Blashill, he used to say, and I thought this was great advice no matter what you were doing. So the players there, they were the same as 16-year-old players. They would come in the coach's office and they would say, Coach, what do I need to do to get to the next level? What do I need to do to get to the NHL? He used to say, whoa, hold on. You can't focus on your next job until you do a great job where you're at. So I always thought that was really good advice. You need to be where your feet are. If you do a great job where you're at, you'll earn an opportunity at that next level. But guess what? When you get to the next level, the same thing holds true there, right? You need to do a great job where you're at to get an opportunity at the next level. So that was always great advice I got from Jeff Blashill. And then my dad always gave me this great advice growing up. He said, the world is run by those that show up. So show up for things. Be involved. If you want to be involved in hockey, then be involved in hockey. Be at the rink, volunteer your time doing clinics, be on the board at your local youth hockey association. That'll create opportunities for you in the future. So don't focus on your next job until you do a great job where you're at, and the world is run by those that show up. Those are good advice for me. Yeah,
great advice. So what's like the biggest financial mistakes you've seen families make around hockey?
Oh man. Well, I don't know I don't want to call it a mistake because it's not their fault, but that's the sheer cost of the game now to be involved in hockey and traveling your 9-year-old or 10-year-old or 11-year-old all over the country, all over North America to play against other 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. I don't know if that really makes sense. And when I look at the place in North America that produces some of the most highly rated players, most Division I players, most NHL players, the state of Minnesota. In Minnesota, hockey's not operated that way. Everybody stays in the state of Minnesota. They play for their local Parks and Rec. They play for their high school team, and then they go play wherever. And in the U.S., they produce by far the most high-end hockey players, and they're right up there with Ontario, in with a much less populated small area. So thinking you have to spend all this money to travel all over North America at a young age to play against other little kids, it doesn't need to happen.
Good advice. Yeah, I know a lot of people try to follow the Joneses and try to get to the best thing and always looking for the next best opportunity. So it's good advice just to stay where you are and just
keep playing
and playing. Yeah, just keep playing. So let's end with like kind of a fun one. When you were coaching in I guess in college, what was your favorite meal on the road?
My favorite meal on the road. So I would like traditionally anywhere. I loved a good chicken parm. I know that's like such a hockey thing to say, but I loved it. I loved a good chicken parm pregame when I was coaching. So, and I missed that a lot. I missed that atmosphere of like the Saturday night game, 7:30, like noon, 1 or 2 o'clock pregame meal. The whole team's there. I missed that for sure. But I was always a traditional chicken parm guy, and put 2 chicken parms on there. I was coaching, I wasn't playing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So
Mhm.
thanks for coming on, and this has been great, like information. I'm sure there's a lot more questions that parents have and stuff. So if they have any questions or want to reach out, how can they reach out to College Hockey Inc. and
Yeah,
get
just go to our
questions?
website, collegehockeyinc.com. My email's on there, Chris Marini on the men's side, Sadie Lundquist on the women's side. Feel free to email us. Happy to help out where we can.
Okay, yeah, it's great to know, and hopefully a lot of people can reach out to you guys and know who you are now, and know it's a free resource. There's a lot of resources out there that charge to get some information, so it's good to come out. So thanks a lot for coming on, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, Brett. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Financial Power Play. If this episode sparked something for you, be sure to subscribe, share it with your hockey crew, and leave a review. Want to talk about building your own financial playbook? Visit uptownwealthmanagement.com to book a free consultation. Until next time, stay focused, stay flexible, and keep playing your game.